Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope everyone is fine. You are listening to the voice of your course instructor, Dr. Muhammad Faisal Farid, and we are studying the course of Human Resource Management for MA Education. Before we go to the next topic, let's have a brief recap of the previous 9 lectures. In the first lecture, we discussed about the outline of the course. Then we talked about introduction to human resource management in the general context as well as in the educational context. Then we talked about models of human resource management. Later on, we discussed some challenges. Afterwards, we have discussion on planning for manpower, demand and supply for human resource, and then we discussed about recruitment and selection procedures adopted by organization. Today we are going to discuss about employment test. After studying this content, you should be able to know different types of employment tests. Employment selection is the process by which companies decide who will or will not be allowed into organizations. Now, careful selection is very important. It gives the importance of a right selection of right person for a right job. There are many things which are kept in mind while selection is taken or conducted, so that the very first thing comes in the mind is organizational performance, because careful selection will enhance the organizational performance. It will reduce the cost of recruitment or selection, because a carefully selected person will be able to perform better job, and he will prove himself to be a good asset to any organization. There are certain legal obligations and liabilities while you are selecting your employees, so you have to take care of those things as well. There are many rules of employment tests. Few are discussed here. The very first thing is elimination of incompetent and unsuitable candidates becomes easily possible, because it helps you to differentiate between a suitable candidate and unsuitable candidate. Then psychologically, mentally and analytical capabilities of a person are identified through these employment tests. When you conduct different types of tests, you check the psychological well-being of a person, the mental and analytical capabilities of a person, and last but not the least is accuracy and perfection in the selection procedure can be achieved. This is one of the important rule of an employment test, where you can check the accuracy and perfection in the selection of procedure adopted in selecting the employees. Now, employment test, it is an objective and standardized measure of a sample of behavior that is used to measure a person's knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics in reaction to other individuals. Now, employment tests are objective and standardized measure. because they are made to measure a particular behavior of a person's particular knowledge base, the skills in him or her abilities, and other related characteristics. So, an employment test, as the name suggests, is a test taken by the employer for potential employees to see whether they are fit for the job profile being offered. Now, these are those type of tests which are taken by the employer, the person who is giving you the job, uh, to the potential employees who are there to seek for that job. So it is sort of a test which is being provided by the employer to those persons who have applied for the job, and they want to see who fits the job requisition. So what does a test measure? Test measures cognitive abilities or mental abilities, because the cognition level of a person increases with the passage of time, and when somebody is there to appear in front of some panel for tests, so he must have certain cognitive abilities in him so that he can find out what type of abilities are required to do his job in that particular organization. Then test measures the motor and physical abilities. And that's very important because physical abilities, whether the person is able to move quickly in the organization, whether he can move from one place to another place, or he can understand what type of task is being uh, assumed to him. So this is very important. Then comes the personality and interests of a person. So the tests measure personality. There are certain personality tests, intelligence tests, and there are certain interest tests. Whether the person who has appeared in front of an organization, so they look for his personality tests and his interests. And the next thing is achievements. So test measures achievements of person. यहाँ तक हमने इस हवाले से बात की है कि टेस्ट क्या चीज़ मेजर करते हैं। तो टेस्ट मेजर करते हैं कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटीज़ को, इंसान की मेंटल एबिलिटीज़ को टेस्ट के लिए मेजर किया जाता है। फिर इंसान की मोटर और फिजिकल एबिलिटीज़ को मेजर किया जाता है टेस्ट के थ्रू। इसी तरह से इंसान की पर्सनैलिटी के डिफरेंट शेड्स हैं जो मेजर होते हैं इन टेस्ट के ज़रिए, और इसी तरह से कुछ टेस्ट ऐसे होते हैं जो इंसान के इंटरेस्ट्स को मेजर करते हैं, और फिर इंसान की अचीवमेंट्स जो हैं वो भी इन टेस्ट के थ्रू मेजर होते हैं। अगर हम एम्प्लॉयमेंट टेस्ट्स की बात करें तो उसकी जो क्लासिफिकेशन दी गई है वो मुख्तलिफ फॉर्म्स में हो सकती है। मिसाल के तौर पर रिटन टेस्ट भी लिया जा सकता है, ओरल भी लिया जा सकता है, फिज़िकल भी लिया जा सकता है, और ऑन जॉब टेस्ट भी लिए जा सकते हैं। So the test can be in various forms such as written, oral, physical or even on the job tests. जहाँ तक बात है फिजिकल एबिलिटी टेस्ट्स की, तो ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट टेस्ट्स हैं और इसमें मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म के टेस्ट लिए जाते हैं। One that evaluate muscular tensions, muscular power, muscular endurance, flexibility, balance, coordination. So मुख्तलिफ़ तरीक़ों से इंसान की फ़िज़िकल एबिलिटीज़ को चेक किया जाता है और ये वैरायटी ऑफ टेस्ट लिए जाते हैं, और ज़्यादातर ये आर्मी से रिलेटेड टेस्ट्स हैं क्योंकि आर्मी में आपको बहुत ज़्यादा फ़िज़िकली टफ लोग चाहिए होते हैं। और these are physical ability essential to performing the job, and it is very important कि अगर कोई if someone is fail to achieve certain level of physical ability, then he or she may not be included in that job. Now, there are certain tests which are written tests. They include aptitude, personality tests और technical knowledge tests. अच्छा, यहाँ पे हमने बात की थी कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटी टेस्ट की। तो कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटी टेस्ट जो है वो डिफरेंशिएट करता है इंडिविजुअल्स को उनकी मेंटल कैपेबिलिटीज़ के हवाले से। कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटी हैज़ मैनी डिफरेंट फेसेट्स like verbal comprehension, quantitative ability, reasoning ability, etc. So that are very important for a person to be able to perform his task effectively. So oral tests are conducted by a panel who administer the same questions to all the candidates. ये जो ज़ुबानी कलामी टेस्ट होते हैं जिनको हम ओरल टेस्ट कहते हैं, तो ये पैनल कंडक्ट करता है और वो सिमिलर क्वेश्चन या सेम क्वेश्चन जो हैं वो तमाम कैंडिडेट से पूछता है। अच्छा, यहाँ पे इम्पॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि कम्युनिकेशन एंड ओरल टेस्ट इज़ वन वे अनलाइक एन इंटरव्यू। अच्छा, ये ओरल टेस्ट जो है ये इंटरव्यू से ज़रा हट के है। हम आगे चल के देखेंगे कि इंटरव्यू के हवाले से हम कौन सी बात कर सकते हैं। Physical tests are used for job profiles that require extensive physical strength such as the army. जैसे मैं आपको पहले बता चुका हूँ कि आर्मी में आपकी फ़िज़िकल स्ट्रेंथ ज़्यादा मैटर करती है। तो ये जो फ़िज़िकल टेस्ट्स हैं ये उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आते हैं कि आप अपनी जॉब के हवाले से एक्सटेंसिव फ़िज़िकल स्ट्रेंथ कैसे शो कर सकते हैं, तो इस तरह के टेस्ट्स में नज़र आती है। फिर ज़ाहिरी बात है, साउंड माइंड इन अ साउंड बॉडी। Candidates are required to go through various physical examinations such as running, long jumps, high jumps, and even medical tests. On-the-job tests include simulation of a work scenario or problem and evaluate the decision-making ability of the candidate. किसी इंसान की जो डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर होती है उसको चेक करने के लिए या उसको एक वर्क सिनेरियो में देखने के लिए आप उससे ऑन जॉब टेस्ट के अंदाज में टेस्ट लेते हैं ताकि हम उसकी उस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस को मेजर कर सकें। फर्दर अगर हम बात करें तो जो क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट टेस्ट के हवाले से हम बात कर रहे थे उसमें आप मुख्तलिफ टाइप ऑफ टेस्ट देखते हैं जिनमें कॉग्निटिव एबिलिटी टेस्ट हैं, एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट हैं, अचीवमेंट टेस्ट हैं। We have talked about previously about these types of tests, and then comes the personality and interest inventories, the big 5 personality factors such as extroversion, adjustment, agreeableness, openness to experiments or experience. So few persons are extrovert, they are sociable, they are assertive, talkative, and expressive. So we want to measure the dimension of a person, that what type of a person he is. So through different interest inventories we identify their personality. There are people who are very good at adjustment. They are emotionally stable and they are non-depressed. They are secure and they are content. देखिए, किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कुछ लोग जो एक्सट्रोवर्ट होते हैं वो सोशेबल होते हैं, वो असर्टिव होते हैं, वो टॉकेटिव होते हैं और एक्सप्रेसिव होते हैं। दूसरी टाइप के लोग वो होते हैं जो इमोशनली स्टेबल होते हैं और जो नॉन डिप्रेस्ड होते हैं, सिक्योर होते हैं और मुतमईन होते हैं। थर्ड टाइप की जो पर्सनालिटी है वो एग्रीएबलनेस है, यानी वो लोग कर्टियस होते हैं, ट्रस्टिंग होते हैं, उनकी नेचर अच्छी होती है, टॉलरेंट होते हैं, कोऑपरेटिव होते हैं और फॉरगिविंग होते हैं। जो नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी है वो उन लोगों की है जो डिपेंडेबल होते हैं, ऑर्गेनाइज्ड होते हैं, प्रिजर्विंग होते हैं और थॉरो अचीवमेंट ओरिएंटेड लोग होते हैं। और जो 5 मेजर डायमेंशंस ऑफ पर्सनालिटी इन्वेंटरीज में आती हैं 5वें नंबर पे, उनमें ओपननेस टू एक्सपीरियंस होते हैं। वो आर्टिस्टिकली सेंसिटिव लोग होते हैं, ब्रॉड माइंडेड होते हैं और वो काफ़ी इफ़ेक्टिव होते हैं अपने हिसाब से। जब हम इस तरह की चीज़ों को मेजर करते हैं तो हमें ये अंदाज़ा होता है कि एक्सट्रोवर्ट्स जो हैं वो they tend to excel in jobs like sales or politics because these jobs demand assertiveness. और जो in contrast introverts are better at studying and working in isolation, and hence they are best at jobs like accountant or research scientist because these jobs demand patience and vigilance. आप अपने अंदर देखिए, आपकी पर्सनैलिटी के मुख्तलिफ शेड्स हैं। आपको अपने अंदर पता होगा कि आप में से कितने लोग इंट्रोवर्ट हैं और कितने एक्सट्रोवर्ट्स हैं। जो एक्सट्रोवर्ट्स होते हैं वो टेंड टू इंजॉय वर्किंग इन टीम ओरिएंटेड एनवायरनमेंट मोर देन इंट्रोवर्ट्स। और extroverts or introverts can become effective leader although they achieve effectiveness in different ways. Extroverts जो हैं वो tend to be top down, autocratic and charismatic leaders who motivate followers by getting them emotionally engaged. एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट बात यह है कि one important element of staffing in team based structures जो है वो भी इनके साथ मेजर करती है, इनके साथ देखी जाती है कि कौन कितने ज़्यादा बातों में इन्वॉल्व होने वाले हैं या कौन आइसोलेशन में रहते हैं। तो इंट्रोवर्ट्स और एक्सट्रोवर्ट्स आपके अंदर आपको अंदाज़ा हो जाएगा कि आपके अंदर कौन सी चीज़ मौजूद है। इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो भी टीम कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बहुत मैटर करता है। और इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस जो है उसके भी वो जो है इट्स कंसीव्ड ऑफ हैविंग 5 एस्पेक्ट्स, जिसमें हम सेल्फ अवेयरनेस की बात करते हैं, जिसमें लोगों को पता होता है कि उनके अंदर उनको अपने बारे में पता होता है कि उनकी स्ट्रेंथ्स और वीकनेसेस कितनी हैं। फिर हम सेल्फ रेगुलेशन की बात करते हैं। ये वो एबिलिटी है जो उन्हें डिसरप्टिव इमोशंस चेक में रखती है। फिर सेल्फ मोटिवेशन है कि हाउ टू मोटिवेट देमसेल्व्स फॉर डूइंग देयर वर्क। एम्पैथी है और सोशल स्किल्स होती हैं। एबिलिटी टू मैनेज द इमोशंस ऑफ अदर पीपल। आप सब जो मेरी आवाज़ सुन रहे हैं, जो क्लास में मौजूद हैं, आपको अपनी पर्सनैलिटी के हवाले से अंदाज़ा होगा कि आप इस बिग 5 पर्सनैलिटी फैक्टर्स में कहाँ पे फॉल करते हैं। मूविंग टुवर्ड द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, you can see here the classification of employment tests like physical ability test, job knowledge tests, and work sample tests. So in work sample tests, one attempts to stimulate the job in a peripheral context to observe how applicant performs in the simulated jobs. So employers को ये चेक करने के लिए कि वो जॉब सिचुएशन में क्या परफॉर्म करेंगे, उनको वो वर्क सैम्पल के तौर पे ले लिया जाता है। मिसाल के तौर पे अगर आपको हम यहाँ खड़ा कर दें एज अ टीचर और आपको कहा जाए कि आपका बिहेवियर हमने चेक करना है कि हाउ यू विल डू लाइक अ टीचर, सो वी कैन क्रिएट अ वर्क सैम्पल टेस्ट फॉर यू। Similarly, we can also create a test related to teacher's job knowledge test, and we can give it to you so that you can perform it, and later on we can understand, we can try to understand that how you have job knowledge or you work sample tests. So honesty tests and other sort of what we can say nowadays is the drug tests are also part of this, that before you take someone on board you can check their honesty as well as that how much type of they are using drugs, a sort of maybe a smoker or any other thing is there in them, and you can see that. So I hope everyone is on board and understanding that what type of classification of employment tests we are discussing. So there are certain standards of any selection method, several generic standards should be met in any selection process. Whatever the selection process you are using, or sort of any employment test you are using, so there must be these 5 minimum requirements which are listed here. One is reliability. The other thing is, now reliability is the test must be, or whatever the procedure you are using, the methods whatever you are using must be consistent with its results. Whereas validity is the test must measure what it says it's supposed to measure. Generalizability, the test can be generalized. It must be having some utility, and there is some legality of these things which are important in any context, whatever the type of test you are using. So it's very important. The one slide which we left was regarding criteria of using a test. So the test itself must be validated, that is, the test must measure what it says it is measuring. This context is used in each and every type of tests. The second thing is the test must be reliable, meaning the result must be consistently repeatable. And the third thing is the test must be job related, job relevant, and job specific. Now let me explain a little bit more about these three things. The first one is the test validity. Now validity is that the test must measure what it says it is supposed to measure. Let's suppose you are given a test of your general this course, human resource management, and you are told that there will be a test and you are preparing your test for it. Now the day of test you are given a sort of paper on which the questions are written. Now you have prepared human resource management as a course content for that particular test, but when you receive the test it has questions, but the questions are not regarding human resource management, but rather they are on research methods in education. So what is it? The test is not valid because the test must have questions related to HRM, but you are receiving a test which has questions of research methods. So the test is not valid. Similarly, when you are appearing in a test, so it must be reliable, meaning the result must be consistently repeatable. If you are given a test like in midterm paper and then you have a final term paper, so at different occasions you are using these two types of tests, and these tests must be consistent with their results. And similarly, when we have employment tests, so at that time the test must be, the valid test will be which has questions on employment. And the last thing is the test must be job relevant and job specific. The questions must be related with the particular job, whichever you are appearing in that particular job. So in the end, there is an assignment for you. What you have to do is you have to go through, you may have seen different you have classifications of employment tests here. What you have to do is you have to write an assignment on these employment test classification, and you have to appear and give it in a better way, in a comprehensive way, so that you can have a better approach. So what we have done in today's lecture is a recap of the lecture is that employment tests have become widely accepted in the selection process. The real value of the test lies in eliminating those applicants who have very little chance of job success than in selecting applicants who will definitely be successful on the jobs. So we have discussed about the definitions of tests. So a test is a sample of an aspect of an individual's behavior. It is a systematic procedure for sampling human behavior. Most large-scale organizations routinely employ tests while trying to match candidate profile with the requirement of vacant positions. And a test measures individual differences in a scientific manner and enable the recruiter to pick up qualified applicants in an unbiased manner. Of course, there is no guarantee that the recruiter will be able to pick up the most suitable candidate for a vacant position by using a battery of tests and by spending huge amount of money. So I hope that you have understood these types of tests which are used by employer to find out a suitable candidate for his or her organization. With praying for your safety, Allah Hafiz from your course instructor for this lecture. Thank you very much.